Okay, let's focus more so on ads. And I'm going to start off with Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram have become pay-to-play platforms. And a lot of people kind of look at me when I say, like, well, what do you mean? Like, you don't have to pay to use it. As a business, you really do need to have a social media advertising budget to get the best results from social media. I'm not going to get in my soapbox about it because now's not the time or the place, but it does really frustrate me whenever I see marketers saying social media is a brilliant free platform. Now, technically, it doesn't cost you to use it, but you're very, very limited in terms of what you can get out of social media organically. Like, I know that because I've worked with social media platforms for 10 years. I know what works in terms of content, but where we get the best results is in accounts that have strong organic content. So there's lots there for people to see, and then strong advertising campaigns to reach new potential customers, engage in a meaningful manner with current customers, and then retarget customers that have converted. So if you're going to take social media seriously in 2021, I'd really recommend thinking about what your budget will allow you to do. Just assigning a certain amount. And we are going to talk about budgets today. And I know that some of you probably itching to ask, how much should I spend on my Facebook ads? Don't ask it just yet. If I haven't answered it properly by the end, yeah, then that's fine. But I'll show you how you can work out your spend. This is a really big opportunity for brands because Facebook, and I'm saying Facebook because Facebook owns Instagram. Facebook holds a phenomenal amount of data about its users. And of course, that has been in the media in the past few years about the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the amount of data that they had, etc. From a marketing point of view, data is a really good thing. It's a really powerful thing because the more you know about the users, then the better ads that can be created. The same thing applies to brands. If you want to advertise, you should have a very clear idea about who you want to show your ads to. Now, this is just a snapshot of some of the things that Facebook knows about us as users. So it knows our location, it knows events that we've engaged with, it knows our opinion on politics, possibly our opinion on religion, our relationship status, photos that we've been tagged in. And then the next question comes, how does it know all of this? Like, I don't submit this to Facebook, I don't tell them this data. We don't specifically submit it or tell them, but every single interaction that we have, every single action that we take on Facebook or Instagram is being recorded as data. So I don't want to sound like, Big Brother, freak anyone out, but you know that already. When you use the platform, you agree to the terms and the conditions. And one of that is that your activity and your interaction can be tracked or recorded. So again, from a data point of view, that can be a really big opportunity because if Facebook is recording like content that people interact with, content that they respond to, pages that they like, posts that they comment on, it builds a really clear picture of what they're interested in. It gives an idea of the things that they're interested in. It also gives an idea of their behaviors. And then that data is accessible to advertisers to use within campaigns. So I don't mean to freak you out about data use, and that's a totally different webinar, but all of this is collected and it can be used then by us as advertisers on the platform. Okay, so one thing I would really, really recommend is before you put a lot of budget into advertising, you start off by having a very clear idea about your target audience. So quite often I work with advertisers or brands, I should say, that are going, Emma, we haven't had a sale in over 2 weeks on our website. Can you run ads and get us a sale? And I'm like, yes, I can run ads and get you a sale. We can promote your catalog. Who do you want to target? And they're like, potential customers. I'm like, okay, but what are potential customers? Like, what age are they? What gender are they? Where do they live? What are they interested in? Why would they buy from you over your competitor? So it's just worth bearing in mind that just because you're running Facebook or Instagram ads does not guarantee success. It does not guarantee that you will get sales. It does not guarantee that you will get website visits. The way you put it together is really, really important because you want to engage with that target audience in a meaningful way. Now, if you haven't got a persona developed and stuck on the wall and something that you read every day, that's okay. Don't worry about that. Just this week, I did a Google mini lab with a really large homewares company in Europe, and they were spending 2 hours specifically focusing on how they can get more data about their customers, like how they can better understand their customers. And they didn't have a persona. Like, in saying that, that's why they were doing the workshop, because they didn't have one. So it's something that I really do recommend. HubSpot, for example, has got loads of templates that you can use to create personas. And I would say download that and get working with it, because the more you know about your audience now, the easier it's going to be for you to set up your ads. Because whether you do it now or whether you do it down the line, you still have to think about that audience that you want to target. And if you've got it done, like your pre-work or your homework, then it's going to be a walk in the park when you get to the ads stage. Okay, let's talk now about some of the solutions that are available when it comes to Facebook ads. This is a debate that happens quite frequently, or shall I say, like a query or a question that comes through. And it's like, Emma, should I do boosted posts, or do I have to go into that ads manager platform? And I know at the back of that person's mind, they're like, please just tell me I can do boosted posts and everything will be okay, because all I have to do is click a button. But there is a difference in the two. And what I would say is, if you're currently boosting your posts, you're not technically using all of the features of Facebook Ads Manager. And this is the reason why. So with the boosted post, you're quite simply just taking the post that already exists on your page and you're paying to reach people. Now, in reality, you're probably paying to reach people who have already liked your page, but those who just haven't seen your post. Now, we know that a very small percentage of your Facebook page fans actually get to see your frequent posts. If you don't know that, just Google it. It's pretty well known that only a small percentage of followers, and recent reports have indicated that it could be as low as 2%, which is really, really dire. However, the better you are at content and the more frequently you post, and if you make your posts really engaging, the higher that percentage can be. So I've worked with brands recently that have an average of 20% reach. I've worked with other brands that have actually reached 5 times their page audience through some of their really high performing posts. So it's not a limit. I don't want anyone to come away being like disheartened and saying, sure, you only reach 2% of people via Facebook. That is an average across the board. But the reality is, unless you've got really fantastic content, you're not going to be reaching all of those people who liked your page just organically. So when you boost a post, a quick win, of course, is for Facebook to show your ad to people who haven't yet seen the post but have indicated that they liked you. The other thing is that you are using the post that's already there, so you can't personalize it, or you can't add any extra call to action buttons, you can't change your creative, etc. You're just taking what's there. Now, you can use some limited targeting, but when you actually go to Ads Manager itself and create an ad, it's a whole new world in terms of options. The other thing is, with the boosted post, you're just taking that one ad and running it to everyone that you decide to advertise to. Whereas in Ads Manager, you can set up a campaign and have more than one ad set. So let's say, for example, you had a hair care product. Let's say you had a new shampoo and you thought, well, younger people like to use my shampoo because it makes their hair really soft and glossy. And then you might realize that people who are slightly older like to use your shampoo because it naturally helps to prevent hair loss. And it also makes it really shiny and glossy. So you know the product has got benefits, but benefits are going to differ between your audiences. You can create one campaign to promote your hair shampoo, but you can create one ad set targeting your younger audience. And then the ad there is going to say, our shampoo is really popular with, young people, or you can just include a testimonial there and say, it makes your hair really shiny and glossy. Buy now. And they're like, oh, looks good. And then you can do another ad set to your older audience group, and you can build in that message about also as an extra benefit. It also helps to prevent hair loss in a really discreet way. And here's some results that we've had recently. So therefore, that one campaign to promote the shampoo is engaging with 2 different audiences, but it's all under the one campaign. Whereas with the boosted post, you can't do that. What you have there is what's going out to everyone that you choose to engage with. The other thing, just with the boosted post, you don't have as much control over the ad objective. So whenever we move into Ads Manager, we will see all of the different objectives that are available, whereas here it's really just reach, traffic, message, etc. And that's if you've built that into your post. So boosted posts do have a purpose here and there. So let's just say that you had launched a new product and you had a corporate video about that and you just wanted to shout it from the rooftops. In that case, a boosted post will be fine because you're taking that content and then just getting it out there. But if you actually wanted to have a more strategic campaign where you were showcasing new products from your website, boosted post is not really going to be the ideal solution. You're going to want to create that in Ads Manager. Sounds like I'm really against boosted post, but there's just so much more you can do. Okay, Ads Manager then. So with Ads Manager, you can easily set up and run ad campaigns to many different audiences at the same time. So here's where you can be strategic, as I was mentioning, and you've got full control over your ad objective. You can target your audiences very, very specifically, and we'll look at that. You can create custom audiences and show your ad to them. You can develop multiple versions of your ad and tweak messaging and compare the different versions to see what works well for you. And the other thing that is worth noting, if you are running your ads from Ads Manager, your ad doesn't show up on your Facebook page. So I just mentioned that as like a little reminder because I've shown people in the past how to run ads and they're really happy with it. But then the next day they email me freaking out going, I can't see it on my page. I don't think it went live. It's not my Facebook page and it's not going to be in your Facebook page. Your Facebook page is not one of the placements for your Facebook ads when you use Ads Manager. Organic posting allows you to get your message on your Facebook page. So when you go in and create an ad and it does not show on your Facebook page, do not panic. You're probably still doing the right thing. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Facebook Ads Manager today. And I'm going to go in and show you some of the features. I just want to tell you a bit about it before I do jump into the platform. So when we're talking about using Ads Manager, it is like a dedicated platform where we can go in and set up ads. And even though it's called Facebook Ads Manager, you can still run Instagram ads from it as well. I know that's not the most obvious thing, but we'll get to see how it works when we look at placements. Within Ads Manager, that's where you control your ads. So you can set up ads, make changes, see results from your campaign. And you also can get the app. So this is what the app looks like. That's the app icon. You can download the app for your mobile phone. However, just from my own experience, the app does have a delay. So I've used the app to check campaigns the weekend and I looked and thought, oh, that campaign's doing really badly. It should have been doing better. I'm going to need to have a look at that. And then I logged in on desktop and realized it was doing a lot better than what the app had shown me because there was a delay in the data coming through the app. Now, Facebook will probably dispute that to say there's nothing wrong with it. But from my own experience, don't rely on the app. Do log in on desktop because it's obviously like a bigger screen and you have all of that functionality. One other thing just to note, if you want to run ads on both Facebook and Instagram, you need to link your Instagram account to your Facebook page. Now, you only need to do that once. Most clients that I work with have got that done. But if it is a new business, you will need to do that. So the easiest way is to go into your Facebook page settings and then click on Instagram. So quite literally down here in your menu is where it says Instagram. And if it's not already connected, you can just click login here to get started and it will connect your Facebook and Instagram. Basically, so the platforms are just connected with each other. When it comes to running ads, it will easily pull through your Instagram account as well as your Facebook. So your ads can be shown from both. Okay, so after you've done that, it's time to go into the Ads Manager and create your first campaign. So if you already create Facebook ads, you'll be aware of this. If you've never looked at it before, then this will show you how you can do that. Once we're in the Ads Manager itself, we always start off by making sure we're at the Campaigns tab. This is our step one. And then we can easily create a new campaign with our green create button. Now, before we just jump straight into putting a campaign together, there's a few pieces of pre-work that are really, really helpful. And one of those is creating an audience. So I'm just going to jump down actually to creating an audience. I'm going to come back to this here. And we'll look at the steps there when we're looking at putting the ad together. So whenever we're running ads, we will have to choose who we target. And audience targeting is a big part of your success. So within your business manager, you actually have an audience section. I'm going to show it to you on screen, and then I'm going to jump into the platform and show it to you in real life. So within your audiences section, you can have a whole range of audiences, saved audiences, custom, lookalike, and you can use any of these in your ads. So it's a really good idea to go in and create this ahead of time. So when you're putting your ad together, you're just pulling in the relevant audience instead of at that point scratching your head thinking, oh, who should I show this to? Because that obviously will take up a lot more time. So when you're in your audience manager, over in the left-hand side, here are the different kinds of audiences that you can create. You can create a custom audience, a lookalike audience, a special ad audience, and a saved audience. Let's rule out the ones you're not going to use. Special ad audience is really only used if you are advertising, say, for example, on behalf of a political party, or if you have like special ad categories, like, I don't know, maybe government or something will be working from that. So in general, most advertisers do not use a special ad audience. You're going to then use custom, lookalike, or saved. Now, custom is the most interesting one. And custom audience is when you can develop an audience off the back of a source. So if we were to click on custom, this little light box would appear, and it's asking us to choose the custom audience source. So this is allowing us to create ads to people that maybe have already interacted with our business or with our brand in some shape or form. So one of the most common custom audiences is using data from your website. And this is where we can go in and choose your source as the website. The other things that you can choose would be if you had an app, you could then import some app activity. If you had a customer list, say for example with email addresses, you could upload that. Now, one thing I do want to say is that customer list technically should have at some stage opted in to receive social media advertising from you. So it's not just as simple technically as going in and downloading your Shopify customer list and uploading it. So disclaimer, I'll just leave it at that point instead of elaborating on what some people do. And then you have offline activity, which would be maybe data sets that were gathered, etc. And again, you would want permission for that. But the majority of people do then just work off their website. And this is where they can build a custom audience based on how people have interacted with their site. Now, if you don't have a pixel set up on your website, or if you don't have a website yet, but you do have strong social media channels, you could decide to use one of these Facebook sources. Your Instagram account is here within the list, and so is your Facebook page. And these do turn out to be really popular audiences that we create. Other things would be if people have watched a video on your page, you can retarget them off the back of that. People who filled in a lead form, you can target those. People who have interacted with any of your instant experiences, interacted with you in terms of shopping, responded to an event. So if you had like a big open day or a virtual open day and you created a Facebook event, you can create an audience off the back of that, or your Facebook listings. However, for your Facebook page and Instagram account, it will probably take in the majority of these other sources. Instagram account and Facebook page are the two that I would recommend creating. So at this point, you just choose one of these sources. You do one at a time. So if we were to take website, for example, it would pull in your source and it would be your pixel. And then you can decide if you're going to target, for example, all website visitors. And here you can do that within the past 30 days. You then give that audience a name. a description if you want, but you would call this, for example, visited website in the last month, and then you create that audience, and it sits then within your audience manager. So it would sit in here amongst your list. Now, what is just worth noting is you have set it here for the last 30 days. You don't need to keep repeating that. You don't need to go back in and recreate that audience. Facebook will automatically update that audience for you. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. They will update that for you. So anyone that visited 31 days ago will move out of that audience, and anyone who visited today or yesterday will move into that audience. So it automatically updates for you. Okay, so one of the other things that we looked at was a lookalike audience. It's another option. So lookalike audience is whenever you start off with a custom audience. So that could be, for example, your website visitors. That could be people who interact with you on Facebook, people who interact with you on Instagram. And what you can say is, okay, take my actual customer or my audience list here, and then go right across your entire network and find people who are really similar, people who match my custom audience. And then Facebook go and find those similar people and bring them into a lookalike audience. So the benefit of doing this is that you know that the people Facebook are surfacing are really similar to that audience you've already created. So they are really likely to interact and behave in the same way as your original audience. And there's likely to be a better match than you just going out to a purely saved audience. So this is something I do recommend doing, and I would do it for any kind of custom audience that we create. So let's just say if we were to create a custom audience off website, another one off Instagram, and another one off Facebook, then I would create a lookalike for each one of those as well. And I'll show you how in just a wee second. Okay, the other option, the third one, is the saved audience. And this is where you just put an audience together by choosing demographic info, location, interests, and behaviors. So this is where you create an audience, and it might say females aged 20 to 55 who live anywhere in the UK who are interested in, let's just hypothetically say you had an ebook with healthy eating recipes. That just came off the top of my head, very random. You might then say, that's your audience, and I'm going to target people who are interested in cooking, healthy eating, well-being, fitness, maybe follow chefs like Delia Smith or Joe Wicks as an influencer, etc. So you can start to put together all of this behavior to create your target audience. Now, when you put together a saved audience, there's no guarantee that anyone in that audience has interacted with your brand before, or that they're aware of you. So typically we would use saved audiences to reach new people. So if it was a new business, a new brand, a new product, having a saved audience is really powerful because you can get your brand in front of new people. Now, the other thing is, with a new business, you probably don't have a lot of Facebook pixel data, and you probably don't have a lot of Facebook and Instagram account data to work off to build a custom audience. So for the most part, you'd be relying on your saved audience. Now, it's definitely not like your poor cousin or anything like that, but this is where, if you've your persona done, you'll really, really get to grips with your saved audience, because you'll be like, well, I have a very clear idea of who I want to target through my saved audience.